Hi, I'm Sarah, a 25-year-old graphic designer living my best life in the big city. But every few weeks, I head back to my hometown to hang out with my family. There's mom, dad, my big brother Tom, my little sister Emily, and of course, Aunt Karen. Now, Aunt Karen. She's a whole different story. Sarah, honey, your aunt's just particular, Mom would say, trying to smooth things over. But I knew the truth. Aunt Karen had it out for me since day one. The backhanded compliments, the side eye, it was relentless. Like when I landed my dream job at a hot new startup, her response was, "Oh, how nice for you, Sarah. I'm sure they hire all sorts of people these days." Classic Aunt Karen. But whatever, I brushed it off. Family's family, right? A few months ago, my parents got a dog, and I was thrilled. I've always loved animals, especially dogs. They brought home this beautiful German Shepherd puppy named Max. Dad was gushing over him as Max zoomed around the living room. I was in love. But soon things took a strange turn. Every time I visited, Max would growl and snap at me. At first, I thought it was just puppy behavior. Maybe he was being protective of his new home. But it got worse. One time, I reached out to pet him, and he lunged at me, teeth bared. My boyfriend Mike had to pull me back. "Babe, that's not normal." "Something's up with that dog," Mike said, concerned. I brushed it off, but deep down, I was getting freaked out. It was like Max had it out for me. But dogs don't just hate people for no reason, right? Things hit a breaking point during our last family dinner. I was helping Mom in the kitchen when I overheard raised voices from the living room. "Karen, this has to stop." That was Dad, sounding angrier than I'd ever heard him. "I don't know what you're talking about," Aunt Karen shot back, all innocent. I crept closer to listen. "Max's behavior towards Sarah isn't right, and I think you know why," Mom said, her voice tight. My heart started racing. What the hell is going on? I stood there frozen, trying to make sense of it all. Whatever it was clear this family drama was about to explode, and I was right in the middle of it. After that dinner, I knew I had to get to the bottom of this Max situation. No way was I going to let Aunt Karen gaslight me into thinking I was imagining things. So I came up with a plan. "Hey Mike, you still got those mini spy cams from your paranoid landlord phase?" I asked. "Yeah, why? You going all James Bond now?" "Something like that. I need to know what's really going on with Max." Mike was skeptical but agreed to help. We set up the cameras around my parents' house when no one was home. It was nerve-wracking. "If we get caught, I'm blaming you," Mike whispered as we placed the last camera. "Relax, babe. It's for a good cause." For the next week, I was on edge, waiting to catch something. And then bam, pay dirt. I nearly dropped my phone when I saw the footage. There was Aunt Karen sneaking into the house when my parents were at work. She had one of my old sweaters and was using it to train Max. Get her, Max, attack. My blood ran cold as I watched her encourage Max to tear into my clothes, praising him when he got aggressive. I couldn't believe it. My own aunt was training the family dog to attack me. What kind of twisted person does that? I called Tom immediately. "Tom, you're not going to believe this. I've got proof Aunt Karen's been training Max to attack me." "Whoa, slow down, Sarah. That's a serious accusation." "Are you sure?" "I've got it on video, clear as day." Tom, ever the lawyer, switched into problem-solving mode. "Okay, don't do anything yet. Let me come over and see the evidence." When Tom saw the footage, he looked like he was going to be sick. Jesus Christ, Sarah. I don't even know what to say. We decided to show our parents that night. To say they were shocked is an understatement. Mom kept repeating, "I can't believe this," while Dad sat there stone-faced, watching the video on loop. "We need to confront Karen," Dad finally said. And that's exactly what we did. The next family dinner felt like walking into a war zone. "How could you do this, Karen?" Mom was in tears. Aunt Karen tried to deny it at first, but the evidence was right there. "It's obviously fake. Sarah's always been jealous of me. She probably doctored that video," she spat, her voice trembling. "Can you believe the nerve of this woman? Me, jealous of her? Please." Things escalated quickly. Emily, my little sis, looked torn. "Maybe it's just a misunderstanding," she said weakly, but Tom wasn't having it. "There's no misunderstanding here, It's clear as day what's going on." The family split right down the middle. Mom, Dad, and Tom were on my side. Emily and a couple of cousins bought into Aunt Karen's innocent act. As for me, I was a mess. Seeing my family torn apart like this was killing me. I started having nightmares, barely sleeping. Mike was worried sick. "Babe, maybe you should talk to someone. This is heavy stuff," he suggested gently, but I couldn't. Not yet. Not until I made sure Aunt Karen couldn't hurt anyone else in our family. Little did I know things were about to get a whole lot crazier. Aunt Karen might have thought she won this round, but I wasn't about to let her get away with it. No way in hell. I called up Mike and Tom for a strategy session. "We need to catch her in the act, with everyone watching," I said, pacing around Mike's living room. "What if we set up a fake family gathering?" Mike suggested. Tom nodded. "That could work. We could invite a professional to observe Max's behavior without Karen knowing." We spent hours hammering out the details. Tom found a top-notch animal behaviorist, Dr. Martinez, who agreed to help. "We need eyes everywhere," I said. "But Karen's going to be suspicious if she sees cameras." That's when I remembered our tech-savvy cousin, Alex. I gave him a call. "Yo, Alex, how'd you like to play spy for a day?" "Hell yeah. What's the mission?" I filled him in on the plan. Alex was all in, promising to hook us up with some seriously stealth surveillance gear. The day of the gathering arrived, and my stomach was in knots as everyone filed in. Aunt Karen showed up last, eyeing me suspiciously. "Well, isn't this a lovely surprise?" she said, her smile not reaching her eyes. Dr. Martinez, posing as Mike's coworker, mingled while keeping a close eye on Max. We'd set up several scenarios to trigger Max's aggression toward me. First up, I accidentally bumped into Aunt Karen, spilling her drink. "Oh my God, I'm so clumsy. Let me help you clean up." As I reached for a napkin, Max started growling fiercely. Dr. Martinez raised an eyebrow, scribbling in his notebook. Next, I offered to help Mom in the kitchen, passing close to Max. He lunged at me, barking like crazy. "Whoa," Mike yelled, pulling me back. That was close. I saw Karen smirking from across the room. Dr. Martinez pulled Tom aside. "This behavior is highly unusual. It's clear the dog has been trained to target your sister specifically." We were building our case, but we needed that smoking gun. Time for the final act. I announced I was heading upstairs to grab something from my old room. As expected, Aunt Karen made an excuse to follow me. In my room, I pretended to search the closet when I heard it. "Max, attack." I spun around to see Max charging at me, Aunt Karen pointing and yelling. But before Max could reach me, Mike burst in, tackling the dog. "What the hell, Karen?" he shouted. Aunt Karen paled, realizing she'd been caught. "I didn't mean," he just. That's when Tom appeared in the doorway, holding up his phone. "It's over, Karen. We've got it all on video." We headed downstairs, where the rest of the family was gathered around Alex's laptop, watching the live feed in horror. Mom was sobbing. "How could you, Karen? She's your niece." Dad looked like he was about to explode. "Get out of my house. Now." Aunt Karen tried to backpedal. "It's not what it looks like. Sarah's turned you all against me." But the evidence was irrefutable. The family watched in stunned silence as the footage played, showing months of Karen's cruel manipulation. As Karen was escorted out, Dr. Martinez approached me. "I've documented everything. If you want to press charges, you have a strong case." I looked at my shattered family, at Max cowering in the corner, and at Aunt Karen's retreating figure. "No," I said finally. "I think karma's about to serve up its own brand of justice." Little did I know how right I was. After Aunt Karen got the boot, the family was in shock. We all stood there, trying to process what had just gone down. Dad was the first to break the silence. "I can't believe she'd stoop so low. Sarah, honey, I'm so sorry we didn't believe you sooner." I shrugged, still feeling numb. "It's okay, Dad. At least now we know the truth." Mom was pacing, wringing her hands. "Should we call the police? This has to be illegal, right?" Tom, ever the voice of reason, stepped in. "Let's take a breath. Sarah, it's your call. Do you want to press charges?" I looked around at my family, at Max still cowering in the corner, and sighed. "No, I don't think so. I just want this nightmare to be over." Just then, we heard a sudden commotion outside, and all rushed to the window. There was Aunt Karen stomping down the porch steps, muttering to herself, "You ungrateful brats, after everything I've done for this family." What happened next was straight out of a slapstick comedy. Max's leash, which had been hanging on the porch railing, somehow got tangled around Karen's feet. She took one step, and wham! Down she went, tumbling head over heels down the stairs. "Oh my God," Mom gasped, rushing outside. We all followed, even Max, who seemed confused by all the commotion. Aunt Karen was sprawled at the bottom of the steps, howling in pain. My arm, my leg. Look what you've done to me. Dad knelt beside her, trying to assess the damage. Don't move, Karen. We're calling an ambulance. As we waited for the paramedics, Aunt Karen finally broke down. I'm sorry, okay? Is that what you want to hear? She sobbed. I was jealous. Sarah always had everything, the looks, the brains, everyone's love. I couldn't stand it anymore. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. All this because she was jealous of me? That's messed up, Aunt Karen. You could have really hurt me. She looked away, tears streaming down her face. I know. I don't know what I was thinking. When the ambulance arrived and they loaded Aunt Karen onto the stretcher, the irony of the situation hit me hard. The very dog she trained to hurt me had ended up being her downfall. After Karen was whisked away to the hospital, we gathered in the living room, emotionally drained. What now? Emily asked, looking lost. Dad sighed heavily. Now we heal as a family. Over the next few weeks, we focused on putting our family back together. Dr. Martinez recommended an excellent dog trainer for Max, and we all pitched in to help with his rehabilitation. Good boy, Max, I praised as he sat calmly at my feet, his tail wagging. It was a far cry from the aggressive dog he'd been just a month ago. As for Aunt Karen, well, karma had done its job. She ended up in a rehab center, nursing a broken arm and leg. No one from the family visited her. It felt harsh, but after what she'd done, it seemed like justice. A couple of months later, I decided it was time to bring the family together again on a happier note. I threw a big backyard barbecue and invited everyone over. As I flipped burgers on the grill, I looked around at my family. Mom and Dad were chatting with Tom and his new girlfriend. Emily was playing fetch with Max, who had become the sweetest, most gentle dog you could imagine. Mike came up behind me, wrapping his arms around my waist. How are you feeling, babe? I leaned back into him, smiling. You know what? I feel good, really good. And I did. Sure, we've been through hell, but we came out stronger on the other side. As I watched Max bound across the yard, his tongue lolling and tail wagging, I knew we'd be okay. After all, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? And in this case, it made our family bonds stronger than ever. That's the end of my wild story, folks. Now, I got a question for you. If you were in my shoes, would you have pressed charges against Aunt Karen, or do you think karma dealt her a fitting punishment? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'm dying to hear what you do in this messed up situation. If you enjoyed this crazy family drama, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe for more juicy stories.